Well, who do you think it is?
At the moment, I suspect no one and everyone.
Listen here, coppers. Let's look at some more physical media. Hey everybody, physical media update for October 2025. More for my edification perhaps than yours. I drink a toast of Trader Joe's generic table red wine to all of you. Happy No King's Day. Anyway, I'm going to start with this. Rio by Duran Duran, 1982 on Capitol with the famous Patrick Nagel cover. I've never owned this. I've never really been into 80s music, 80s pop that much. But I have to begrudgingly admit, this is a great album. It's not perfect. A couple tracks on here aren't to my taste. But the first half of the album has two big hits that pretty much everybody has heard. And the latter half of the album is kind of nice. Almost pretty great, I guess. So yeah, I'm pleased with this, even though normally it's not what I listen to. I've never had this. I've always kind of wanted it mainly for the cover because it's so great by Patrick Nagel, but it turns out the music's fine. So I've been to a bunch of different places recently, getting real cheap stuff, sometimes for free. This was not free, but it was only 50 cents. That's Entertainment 2. This is a VHS tape on MGM-UA. This was issued in the, I don't know, around 87 maybe. Let's see, 89. This was issued in 89. It has that kind of silver, shiny red, and sometimes they have gold color on these. On the James Bond ones, they have gold ones from this period. It has the silver label, and you know, I'm just collecting VHS for nostalgia purposes, more or less. And I got Joy Luck Club. Is this Wayne Wang? Yeah, Wayne Wang directed this. Big critical hit back in the 90s. What was it? 94? Somewhere in there. I don't know. I've seen this before, but it's been a long time, and I have it on DVD. But I'm just, again, I think I got that for maybe $1. Not that much. Russia House. The Russia House. I think this is based on John le Carré novel. Let me see. Yeah, Jean le Carré's novel, which I have. I have a copy of that novel in here in my library. I started reading it one time. Couldn't get into it, although I do like the story quite a bit, and I do love this film. Sean Connery plays a book dealer. He's kind of a spy for the British. He's dealing with Russians, and Michelle Pfeiffer's in it, trying and doing a fairly decent job at a Russian accent, as I recall. Great cast. You got Roy Scheider and a bunch of other people in this. Klaus Maria Brandauer. And Ken Russell, too, the director, is in this. I love this. This is, you know, if you're tired of James Bond and all the goofiness of James Bond, this is kind of more what espionage is really all about, which is just people talking, but it's beautiful talking. It's beautifully scripted. A gentleman's entertainment, shall we call it. Man from Snowy River, George Miller film. George Miller, of course, famous for the Mad Max films. This was a different type of Australian drama, Western, kind of epic, or an Australian Western, I guess you could say. And I have this, I believe, on DVD also, but this is a Fox Video with the Fox Video label. This is from, I think, the early 90s, 1991, Fox Video. It's in nice shape. It's just a nostalgia piece. This is a video you would see in every video store back in the 80s, so, and the 90s. So I kind of wanted to get that. I think that cost me either, it was $1. It was $1. Show you some DVDs I picked up. Now this is Alice Adams with Katharine Hepburn, 1935. MGM. Is it put out by Warner Brothers? Yeah, it's a snap case. So this is pre disc rot era, so these should be safe. This should be a safe disc. I just got this on VHS a few weeks ago, you might recall, if you're really paying that close attention, which I don't think you are, and you shouldn't. But this is a fine movie based on Booth Tarkington's novel, and George Stevens is directing it. George Stevens' films of the 30s are great, and the early 40s too, his comedies. That to me is his best period, more than his epics of the 50s. So I've got that. I never had that before in any format other than VHS. We got two of those MPI Sherlock Holmes Universal franchise movies from the early 40s, World War II era. We got House of Fear and Pearl of Death. Pearl of Death, I think, is 43, and House of Fear is 44. 44 or 45, somewhere in there. I watched House of Fear the other day. I enjoyed the hell out of it. It's kind of, I think they rewrote Conan Doyle's story and made it more like an Agatha Christie. So I don't want to give away the ending, but if you know Murder on the Orient Express, you kind of know the ending of this movie. But it's great. They go into this English manor where a bunch of dudes are just hanging out and plotting crimes and whatnot. And people are being bumped off one by one in an old dark house. And it's got the atmosphere. It's got Basil Rathbone being absolutely awesome, of course. And, of course, Nigel Bruce as Watson being a complete doofus, which we love. This is a double feature. Pearl of Death I've seen. I haven't watched it off of here, but that's a really nice pairing. And I didn't have these two in my DVD collection. So that might complete my Sherlock Holmes collection now, at least that Sherlock Holmes. We got the Bamboo Blonde. I got this for $1 at Half Price Books. It's a Warner archive disc, so it's kind of burned to order. I won't show you, but it's a purple disc. Warner Archive Collection. This is from the World War II era, and I don't know who the actor is in this. It's Ralph Edwards. Is that the Ralph Edwards? I think so. Is it the Ralph Edwards who's the announcer and game show host guy? Commercial guy? Anyway, Frances Langford is in this. A lot of people won't know her, but she was on the radio, and she was a recording artist. She was in a show called Bickersons back in the 40s with Don Amici, which is a very funny show. She was in the Broadway Melody of 1936, which is one of my favorite movies. She has that spectacular finale where she's in that sort of, I don't know what you call it, rhinestone or gold lame suit with the top hat. And I just love that. And, you know, I know nothing about this film. I just know it's an old movie for $1 on Warner Archive. I couldn't pass that up. And it has Frances Langford, and I like her. We got the Bob Hope Tribute Collection double feature of College Swing, the big broadcast in 1938. Big broadcast in 1938 has W.C. Fields in it. And College Swing has Martha Raye. And Martha Raye's always funny, always delightful. I love her. I love her to death. She always makes any lesser movie better just by being in it. She and Bob Hope were great together in some, what I consider to be lesser comedies. There was another one of hers and his that I watched a couple years ago. I thought the movie was totally forgettable, but when they were on screen together, the movie just cooked. It was so funny. I saw this screened in the 80s when I was in college. In college, I saw College Swing, back when they used to screen minor classics like this. And I hardly remembered anything about it. I started watching this, and it was kind of cute. George Burns and Gracie Allen are also in it. But I couldn't hang with it. I just got, like, I have other things to do. But, you know, I don't have the patience for it so much anymore. Arch of Triumph with Ingrid Bergman. I think this is 1948. Louis Milestone, a major director on this. I don't believe I've ever seen this. It looks like Charles Boyer is in this as well. If I did see this, I have completely forgotten it. But I know I didn't have it in my collection, so I got this. This was a $2 item. It's on Republic Pictures. So, another classic for my collection. We got Charles Laughton here as Rembrandt. This is one of the greatest performances in the history of cinema by Charles Laughton, in my opinion. Maybe one of the 5 greatest performances in cinema. 1936 British classic, directed by the Cordas, produced by the Cordas. An impeccable production, replicating kind of the feel of those Dutch paintings. And Laughton just gives it his all emotionally in this movie. The movie is about his feeling. I don't normally like biopics, but the choice they made here is just to let Laughton carry the movie, even though the visuals are splendid. They're incredibly great. I already own this DVD, but, you know, since this is one of my favorite movies of all time, there was no way I was not going to get an extra copy for $2. This is on MGM DVD label, the Vintage Classics series. Laughton makes this all about his emotion for his dead wife. which just is infused throughout his character in this and just makes it so melancholy and beautiful. It's so great. Of course, he does a little bit of hamminess at the end when he gets old, kind of like he did in that Henry VIII movie. Private Life of Henry VIII, was that what it was called? The one in 1933? Yeah, he could be a little bit, you know, kind of ham it up for the screen. A little bit, which he does at the end when he gets old. But before that, the movie is really resonant. He's amazing in this. And again, one of my favorite films of all time. Alright, let's take the glasses off. Maybe that'll help. I am going to show you some CDs. I got quite a few. I got some jazz, I got some classical, and some other odds and ends here. Just picked this up the other day. 3-disc set on EMI Bellini's Norma with Maria Callas playing the title role. She recorded this several times. This is the 1954 release. She did it in 51 also. I think I've got that over there. And then she did another one afterward, I believe. But there's lots of Normas with her. I got this for $2. Very happy to get that for $2. I didn't have a lot of recordings of Norma, believe it or not, even though it's one of the primary operas in the repertoire. Bruckner's Fourth with Karajan. I have several of the Karajan's, Herbert von Karajan's. I have several of his Bruckner recordings on Deutsche Grammophon, but not this one. This one was $2, and it's an early pressing, so wasn't going to pass on that. She's not always my favorite in Bruckner, but it can't be bad. Cherubini's Requiem. This is on Hyperion. This is Matthew Best conducting. The only other recording of the Cherubini Requiem that I had was Toscanini, so that's old. So this is finally, I get a modern performance in my collection. Ravel pieces with Leonard Bernstein. This is that Prince Charles Royal Edition, which these actually sell pretty well on eBay. Not sure why, because Leonard Bernstein has been repackaged in so many different ways. But I think there was only one recording on this I didn't have, because all this, again, gets repackaged so many times, you end up getting overlap with this. But this is an all Ravel program. Of course, it has Bolero on it, but it has other pieces on there that interest me more. This was one of the real finds for me. This was David Zinman, an early, very early CD. It even has the smooth edge case, which tells you it's a really early CD from the early to mid 80s. Doing Rimsky-Korsakov pieces, The Tale of Tsar Sultan, and The Golden Cockerel. This is a sonic spectacular, as it were. I would equate this to like the sonic spectacular recordings that like RCA did in the mid 50s when they were introducing stereo to the public. This is kind of one of those from when digital was being introduced to the public in the early 80s. It sounds great, and the performances are very good, and this, you don't run across this one as much anymore. I had gotten another one that I already put away on the shelf by him. I don't know if I showed that in the last media video, but there was another one of Rimsky-Korsakov pieces from this period that Zinman did that I also got. I paid a little more for that one because I wanted that one more. I waited for this one to get marked down to $2. I looked on the shelf yesterday and it was marked down to $2. So my wait paid off, and I'm happy to have that for $2. Stravinsky Pulcinella and some other pieces. This is Neville Mariner. This is on, I think, either Argo or it's London, but I thought it was maybe originally Argo. I'm not sure. The Classic Sound, the Decca Classic Sound series. I didn't have many recordings of Pulcinella, so it's nice to have another one in pretty decent sound. Art Blakey, A Night at Birdland, Volume 1. I think this is 1953 or 54. I thought I didn't have this, but I did have it. I already had Art Blakey's Night in Birdland, Volume 1. I didn't have Volume 2. I still don't have that. I'm not going to say I didn't download it, but I do have 2 copies of Volume 1 now, but this reissued copy has bonus tracks. This is called the Rudy Van Gelder edition, so I guess they just went into the Van Gelder archive and pulled a couple extra tracks to make it more attractive. I'm fine having 2 copies with that. That's great stuff. We're obviously getting into some jazz now. Betty Carter. I don't know the name of the album. What does it say? I can't read. I can read, but I'm Yours, You're Mine. This is on Verve. Betty Carter is one of the great jazz vocalists, but believe it or not, I didn't have any Betty Carter in my collection at all. Mainly because I just don't listen to that kind of scat style singing that she does for pleasure. I'm not going to really want to listen to it very much. That being said, I can acknowledge how great she is. And for getting that for $1, that at least rights a wrong, and I do fill a gap with that in my collection. The Cal Collins Quartet Ohio Style. I don't know if I showed this before. This was $1 at half price. It's a jazz group, and they're very good. I think they're out in California, even though it says Ohio. This is a really good disc. It's on Concord. So Miles Davis Sketches of Spain. Of course, I already own this. But this is a reissue with, again, more bonus material. 2 or 3 extra bonus tracks, remastered. And it was only $2. So I'm like, that's fine. Gil Evans, I believe, is doing the arrangements on that. Roy Hargrove Quintet, Tenors of Our Time. This is also on Verve. He's a trumpet player. This is a really nice disc. Traditional jazz, nothing too crazy on there. Stan Kenton, I gotta be able to read this. 50th anniversary celebration, Back to Balboa. I don't know when this was released, but this has 2 discs in it. It's a 2-disc set. And I collect Stan Kenton. I enjoy Stan Kenton. In small doses. He can get a little wild, a little loud. Shelly Manne and His Men at the Manhole on Contemporary Stereo. Contemporary label, which is the same as Fantasy, Original Jazz Classics. This is a session from 1961. Released on CD in 1992 on Fantasy, Contemporary. $2. What can I say? This is John Patitucci's One More Angel on Concord. It's kind of a compositional type piece, I think. I didn't listen to this yet. I only got it because I had to do a return and I had to get a replacement for the return, so I just picked this up. Don't really know much about it. Supposedly it's a very good album. I haven't really listened to it yet. Oh shit, all my stuff fell down. That's nice. Danilo Perez, jazz pianist, arranger, composer. This one's called The Journey, and I listened to a little bit of it. It's very good. Larry and Lee. This is Larry Carlton and Lee Ritenour. It's called Larry and Lee, and it is on GRP Records, more jazz. Going to be pretty reliable, I'd say. We got Wallace Roney here on trumpet, No Job Too Big or Small. This is on Savoy Jazz, 2003. See if I can see the disc. There he is. There he is, playing away. I listened to this. It's quite good. Quite good indeed. Stephen Scott Trio, Renaissance on Verve. Did I listen to this yet? I did. Yeah, it was good. Don't remember much about it. It has some Brazilian stuff on here. It looks like at least one of the tracks. Got another Toots Thielmans on Narada Jazz, 1999. This one's called The Live Takes, Volume 1. To show you that it's authentic. I always enjoy his stuff. And I believe that's it. There might be some VHS tapes that I did get, but I'm not going to drag them out because they're all put away now on the shelf. But that's the haul for today. And don't really have much more to say. So cheers. Got a red table wine from Trader Joe's, $5. It's not bad. Alright, the next little segment I filmed badly. I filmed it in the wrong light. Instead of filming it this way with the light on me, I filmed it this way with the light on you, and it looks really bad. So bear with me. Alright everybody, a little bonus item here for you today. About 40 years ago, back in the 80s, somebody gave me a black light poster. And I've never had a black light, so I could never see what the poster looked like. Well, the poster went into the closet for 40 years. I was cleaning the closet the other day and I came across it and I thought, oh my gosh, this poster, I forgot about it. Now, it is a Kama Sutra blacklight poster. It's flocked, it has that felt-like surface on it. And I remember when I got it back then and I showed it to my parents, they were like, throw that away. My dad didn't care. My mom was the one who was, prudish about it. She's like, throw that nasty thing away. I'm like, no, I'm not throwing this away. And I'm glad I didn't, because those posters are worth a lot of money now. Plus they look cool. And I'm like, I was in Walmart a week or so ago, and I saw a blacklight and blacklight fixture. It was a fluorescent tube. It was about, I don't know, 24 inches long, just the right size. And I was like, okay, I'm going to buy that because it's 15 bucks, because I want to see that blacklight poster. So I went ahead and bought that fixture, put it up on the wall, put the poster up behind the door, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. Now, I don't remember who gave me this poster. I guess someone else was trying to get rid of it. Maybe their parents didn't approve of it. I have no idea. But I'm going to show you this thing because it's pretty impressive. And in fact, I think I'd like to get a couple more to put in this foyer entranceway to this room down here. If I can get a Bob Marley one, that would be ideal. But nobody sells those anymore. I even went to a poster shop, didn't have any. It's too passé. It's not really in vogue right now. But I think, you know, there's always going to be a coterie of people out there who are into it. I'd like to get 2 more. If I could just get 2 more to put in the entranceway, I think that would justify the black light. But let's look at this poster real quick. It's pretty cool. Now, it might not be family friendly for YouTube because it's a Kama Sutra poster. It was made by Scorpio Posters in New York in the 80s, possibly the 70s. So it's a very vintage poster, and it's probably worth more than 50 bucks, maybe 100 bucks. I don't know. But let's look at it, shall we? Okay, there's the black light. Now, that's actually purple, but this camera does not do well with purple and blues. So that should look purple, and purples look blue and blues look purple, and it's a Canon thing, and there's an adjustment in here. I'm not going to mess with the settings on this thing because I've actually got the camera working. But there's your blacklight poster right there. Look at that thing. How about that? Let's do it without, let me turn the light on here real quick, just so we can, I'm going to turn it down a little bit. There. So there we go. Let's turn it off and we'll show you the difference. It's blue and yellow and red, and then the yellows become more of a lime green, the blues become more of a neon blue. The blues are much darker in real life than they're showing up on this camera. Again, the blues and purples are a problem for this camera, but definitely you can see a difference when it's on and not on. So that's your black light poster. Now you're like, aren't you over 60? Why are you dabbling in black light? Isn't that a juvenile thing? Yeah, it probably is, but it's a juvenile part of my life I never got to explore. So it's kind of a bucket list thing at this point. And now that I've done it, I'm like, okay, I can check that off. I've done it. I've seen the blacklight poster. It looks great. I'm happy with it. So there you go. Small physical big.